It was an opportunity to launch in the deep and try business.
Gilbert would later know about family media at a time when he really needed hope.
When I had come to Nairobi, I was living with my sister. Living with my sister, she's born again. So ukiwa kwake hakuna atio acha nisikize sijui nani. Unaingia kutoka asubuhi radio kama haiongei mambo ya God, kama haiongei story ya Bible. And she was watching family. So that's how I came to know family. And by circumstance, so unajipata uko hapo, you watch it. And I started watching it. And I really liked how Joel Osteen was preaching. So I will see him preaching, I was like, yeah, that's my guy. So now watch, and you're like, yeah, that's how I started. Then after the programs, that's where you'll see if you like to support us and keep Jesus on the airwaves. This is the number, 316. I was like, yeah, one day, ipo siku.
From those early days, Gilbert has remained consistent and continues to share in the mission to keep Jesus on the airwaves.
Watching TV is free, but running it is very expensive. So just as a sign of gratitude of the founder and the guys who do it behind the scene, just as showing them, you guys, thank you guys are doing a good job. You give them whatever it is that you feel in your heart can help them, whether it's big or small, but at the moment, that's what you have, what you can give, of course, with a grateful heart. So you do it. To me, that's the first thing, just showing that I'm thankful. You guys pulled me through a situation that I didn't think per se I needed encouragement, but you guys encouraged me, so thank you.
We acknowledge the tremendous support of our partners that has been key in helping us keep Jesus on the airwaves, but we can't stop now. To become a partner with us, SMS the word partner to 20316.
They say the TV, radio, social media, whichever it is, YouTube, Talk, IG, all of it have, I guess, more than 50% the impact on the lives of everyone who's exposed to. So the more, like, allow me to use your tagline, the more Jesus is kept on the airwaves, the better for everyone. Because this guy who you think is a nobody will get exposed to God and Jesus, and their life will be transformed. Believe me, maybe he would have been a thug and maybe robbed you or killed you. But now that he's in the kingdom, he'll better the kingdom and better the government, better the area that he's in. So the more that Christ is preached, the more that people get to know of him, the better for the society.
Weekly Steve Otieno. Mimi nianza nafanya biashara za hapa na pale. Nilizaliwa kwa family spiritual. Jua tu kwa religious as such. Familia yetu sisi ni wa SDA na Islam. Lakini tuliblend tu hivyo. Sasa kuna time celebrations za Christian bado tulikuwa tuna celebrate. Yuko na wengine wa Kristo na bado like Islam tulikuwa tuna celebrate. Ukigrow bado wezi choose tena na hiyo tena fika mahali ukimaliza kitu ka primo tunaanza kuwei ilifuatei lakini pia ilikuwa somewhat confusing. Sasa naye dagemea style ya Kristo kiasi yake, yani almost anasema 70-80%. Sasa kwa time nilitoka Nairobi nikaenda Hocha na maisha juu ilikuwa chini. Sasa ile tu nilikuwa nataka tu kunanga tu nikuwe peke yangu ni tu TV. Hata sikuwa na mind kuna family TV ama vitekani. Sasa ile ndio kiboeka kwa remote huko tu hiyo ni napo. Ninapoa tu chochote tu. Hiyo siku zile nadhani nilikuwa siji na 14 pop kwa simu. nikajaribu kuta tu nitoi. So at least natoa hata kazi toi mingi, lakini napenda kutoa. Sina feel too great hiyo message hata kirudi, hata kwa ilikuwa chini waseme nyewe pia kana saidia mtu at least. Juu pia mimi hiyo ndio ilinisaidia. Sasa tu ni kama kurudisha mkono. Hata sema kama ile litend mali nimetoka hadi mali nimefika. Inaweza change watu wengi. Na bado kuna wengi cha change. Hata kuna mabeshte tu wangu niliwaambia tu hebu jaribu gui. Ukisikia nafikiria hata kuchukua life yako. Chukua tu time hata kama ni a minute. Yote pia tu jiombe juu Mungu na bado tu yuko bado anafanya na bado tazidi kutenda.
We invite you to become part of the family that is helping keep Jesus on the airwaves by sending the word partner to 20316.
Kutoa ni roho yako, si ati amount. Usione kidogo, hiyo roho tu nimetoa. Hata kama ni kidogo aje. Bili kitu nimebelieve, Mungu angalie amount, anaangalia roho yenye nimeitoa. Sasa unaanza tu na hapo. Usisikie ati mtu alitoa mita pia utatoa mita. Anza na hiyo 10 bob yako, hata kama ni 5 bob, anza tu na hiyo. Hiyo ndio uko nayo. Lakini unatoa tu na rosa. Na pia usitoe kama una doubt. Toa tu yenyewe ido nimetoa. Chochote umetoa hata kama ni muda time yako. Toa. Bado itaweka Christ kwa wengine pia waipate. Gospel izidi kuspread.
Good morning. Welcome to Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. Now, did you know that this coming Wednesday is a day where world over is celebrated as World Day against, human trafficking? And I hope I've captured that right. But really, in a sense, it's a day that, people come together and we raise awareness against human trafficking. And so in light of that, today we are actually having a conversation on Stop Human Trafficking. It is sad that even where we are at right now, that there are still people being trafficked, people being, treated as chattel, as property, people misused, abused even. And so joining us for this conversation this morning is Otieno, who is the Programs Director at HAART, HAART, which is Awareness Against Human Trafficking. And I'm so looking forward to this conversation so that you and I can learn what part we can play to stop human trafficking, both for ourselves and our loved ones, but also for others. And so do join us for this conversation. Whatever questions you may have, whatever comments, feedback, feel free to send them to 20316, which is our SMS line, or 0786 316 316, which is our WhatsApp line. Mercy, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so by way of introduction, please let us know who you are, what you do, and what HAART actually fundamentally does.
All right, so my name is Otieno. I work with Awareness Against Human Trafficking, popularly known as HAART. We are an organization that is a non-profit organization. We were founded in the year 2010. We were responding to fighting human trafficking. So we have 4 programs. We have prevention, protection, prosecution, and partnerships when it comes to fighting human trafficking. So within the organization, what I do is I am head of programs. So I manage programs that look into fighting human trafficking in all these 4 P's that I have mentioned. Yes.
All right. Wednesday is a day, celebrated world over, raising awareness against human trafficking. Just mention something about that.
Okay. So every year we come together as a world to remember people who have suffered exploitation through human trafficking, look into ways in which we can prevent, look into ways in which we can offer support and services to those who've suffered the crime, including their families, as well as look into aspects to do with how do we punish the perpetrators, because it's also one of the ways in which we prevent, and also how do we all work together regardless of who you are in the society, how do we come together and work to fight this crime. So every year, that's what we do. So like, for example, for this year, we have all years we have themes. So like for this year, we are saying human trafficking is an organized crime and the exploitation. Yes.
It is an organized crime.
Yes.
Now, when I hear human trafficking, just because of how I am removed, so to speak, from the experience, as far as I know, I don't think I have suffered that. As far as I know, I don't think I know of a loved one, as far as I know. But just to know that this is not something we read in books or something when we think about the transatlantic slave trade, but this is something that is happening even currently, and it's something that is ongoing. Just mention how the scene looks like right now when the question of human trafficking is concerned.
All right. So how the scene looks like right now is there has been an increase when it comes to identified survivors of human trafficking or victims of human trafficking. So we can see the numbers go up since post-COVID.
Wow.
So before COVID, for example, as an organization, we would receive in a year between 60 to 80 survivors of human trafficking. But after COVID, the number went up to 100. And I think even as we try to understand it, it's important that we are able to define it. Okay, so we break down what human trafficking really is. So number one thing, when you want to understand what human trafficking is, you have to identify the age of the person that you think might be a victim of human trafficking. Why that is important, we'll get to know why. But so is this person a child or is this person an adult? So once you identify that, then you have three aspects that you look into. So there's something we call activity or act, means, and purpose. So if this is an adult, when you're listening to this person, you have to be able to identify the act, the means, and the purpose. So the act could be transportation, harboring, recruitment of person, receipt of person, and then you look at the means. How was this person harbored? How was this person transported? Like, how did they get into this situation? How did they get here? So you look at the means. So were they deceived? Were they forced? Were they abducted? Did someone abuse their position of vulnerability? Did someone abuse their position of power? And then we move to exploitation, which is why. So what did this person do? How did they do it? And why did they do it? So the why is always for the purposes of exploitation. So how are they exploiting this person? So there are different forms in which you exploit a person. So we have types of trafficking where we look at sexual exploitation or labor. Then under labor, we have other forms of exploitation. For example, it could be for forced labor in terms of forced begging, could be for domestic servitude, could be for forced marriage, could be for organ harvesting or organ removal, which is something that is trending within this country. I don't know if you've heard about the Medihill case. Then we also have child soldiers. I've talked about forced begging. So now we are looking at those three aspects when it's an adult. However, when it's a child, something changes, and it's the means. Because remember, a child cannot consent. So for adults, someone manipulated your consent. So you gave consent to get into the situation, but they didn't tell you that, like you were forced into that situation. But for children, then we remove means. So it will be act and purpose. So this child was either harbored, received, transported, recruited, and they were exploited, either through the sex trafficking or labor trafficking, which also has a variety of forms, or organ removal, or even forced criminality. So now when we are looking into trafficking, those are the aspects we look into for us to see that someone has actually suffered human trafficking. Yes.
I think one of the recent cases that was interesting was, and I can't remember the country, where there were Kenyans that were found, I think it was they thought they were going for employment, and then they found themselves, locked up in these spaces, and they were committing, crime,
Yes.
basically. Speaking to that, I think that was a classic case
Yes.
that was recently, all over our news channels.
Yes. So the case you're talking about is Kenyans being exploited in Southeast Asia. So for the ones you're talking about, the ones who came recently, as an organization, we were able to support the government in repatriation of over 150 Kenyans.
Wow.
Who had been recruited. So now you can be able to see the process. So they got to know about job opportunities. They were told they're going to Thailand to work as, it was like white collar jobs.
Yeah.
Some were supermarket attendants, some were going to work in hospitality industry, and they were going to be paid like really good money. Some of them say it's around between 150 to 300,000 Kenyan shillings per month. And so some of them were even working. And so they say, oh, this is a good opportunity. So they actually some of them, because they could not afford the recruitment fees, some of them took loans, others sold their property just to get this opportunity. Yeah. So they left the country, and they were living in different groups. So upon arriving to Thailand, they start noticing, things are not as we had been told, but again, nothing has happened, so they're just wondering what's going on. So they are moved. It's like a really long story. Yeah. But they end up in some other space that looks very remote. But to them, because they've never been in this country, they know we are in Thailand. Yeah. And then they are told what they need to do. They are taught how to computer skills. Yeah. Actually, they test your computer skills, because one of the qualifications for you to get the job was, are you computer literate? Yeah. So then they are taught on how to work, only for them to realize they're actually scamming people, and also for them to come and learn later they are actually not in Thailand, they're in Myanmar, former Burma. Oh. Yeah. So then that's forced criminality. So human trafficking keeps changing, because for a very long time, as a country, we used to associate trafficking in persons with the Gulf states. But now you've seen the perpetrators have changed. They're no longer going. Gulf states exploitation is still happening, but again, new other destinations have opened up now, like for example, the Southeast Asia. Yeah. So, but the issue of the Southeast Asia didn't start now. The first case that we worked on was in 2022, but the numbers were low because we supported the repatriation of over 30 Kenyans, Ugandans, and Burundians. But now in 2024, 2025, then the numbers were just too big. Yeah.
Now, you've talked about Gulf states, which is a whole interesting conversation. So we have many people, because of our economic situation in the country, who are looking for something to fend for themselves, fend for their families. And there are all these jobs that are advertised in Gulf states. And people leave and they realize what was sold to me is not what eventually I ended up actually, doing. One. Two, the pay that I was told I would be given is not the pay that I ended up getting. Yes. And of course, other things that happen, the confiscation of passports and all that. Yes. Does that also qualify as human trafficking?
Yes, it does qualify as human trafficking, because remember, one of the things we've said, how we identify if it's a case of human trafficking is the means. So in this case, I was told I'm going, for example, to be a nurse. Then I get there, I end up being a domestic worker. So I was deceived. Yeah. Therefore, you're exploiting me, because now you're forcing me to work with something I did not agree to. Yeah. Yeah. So for the Gulf cases, majority, I'm not saying all cases of the Gulf states are human trafficking, but a very big number, a very big percentage are actually cases of exploitation. Yeah. Because you have the issue of, one, the job that you're told is not what you're going to do. Two, the money that you had agreed on is not what you're going to be paid. Sometimes you're not even paid completely. And then sometimes we have situations of people being overworked. You're only resting for 2 hours or 3 hours, but you're supposed to work nonstop. When it comes to you accessing medical services, your employer denies you and they tell you, no, Africans don't get sick. Okay, or you're just given Panadol, regardless of whatever ailment you have. You're given Panadol because they are looking at you as a slave. You're supposed to be working, and majority of them will tell you they're not even allowed to leave the house. They are always under surveillance. Someone is always watching their move.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to eat food like the other members of the family. You're either given leftovers or sometimes you're not given food at all. You're told, find your own food. How do I find my own food? You're not paying me. You're not even allowing me to leave your house. Yeah.
Wow, wow. Now, let's then go back to the different types of human trafficking. You said majorly they will be in two categories, either, you know, exploitation for sex or exploitation for labor, and under labor there are different types. How do you deal with either? Is the approach the same in terms of how, if you are trying to assist victims first, you know, who are caught up in, you know, human trafficking, but for the purpose of being exploited for sex, or those that are being exploited for labor, do you use the same approach, or are the approaches different?
So our approach is really individualized.
Okay.
So regardless of what you've gone through, it's really, we are looking at you as Mokaya. So what services will you require? But of course, just because of the type of exploitation, again, you wouldn't, like for example, for therapy. Therapy for someone who suffered sexual exploitation and someone who suffered labor might look different even in terms of the expert who's offering this support. But for us, the main thing is you as an individual, what are services that you would require. So for instance, one of the things we do is once we identify a survivor of human trafficking, we conduct a needs assessment. We want to understand what are their needs. But even as we're understanding what their needs are, we want to look at it from a strength perspective. We don't want to look at you as someone who lacks. We are looking at what does this person have that we can use to actually support them in terms of their integration into the society. So different people have different needs, but as an organization, we are able to support them with immediate needs, medical support, legal aid, economic empowerment, as well as psychotherapy and psychiatric care. And also extending this support to the family, because you also understand as a human being, we are social beings.
Yeah.
So when you're working with this person, you're just not working with an island. They have a community, they have children, they have sisters, relatives. So also, how do we work with you, but also realizing that you have a community with you? So that's what we do. And normally our reintegration process takes between, depending on the individual, takes between 1 year to 2 years before now we can say that we've successfully reintegrated a person. So we do have cases, 80% of our cases we have successful reintegration. However, we still have this 20% where sometimes we have cases of re-trafficking, or sometimes we have cases of they're not fully reintegrated in the community. They will still require some extra support.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. You mean it's possible to sort of rescue someone and then they are trafficked again?
Yes.
Is it a psychological thing, especially if it's an adult? So is it that they are so affected psychologically that it's easy to take advantage of them again?
So there's that, yes, and especially for sex trafficking, that tends to happen. But sometimes it's just, you see, human trafficking takes different forms and shapes. So in as much as I have suffered it now, I might not be able to notice it when it's going to happen a second time, and especially if my push factor still exists. So if I am constantly, I really need to find a job. Because yes, I've said we support people with economic empowerment, but sometimes you find the economic hardships within the country will not even allow for that business that someone has started to flourish. So they are still vulnerable economically. So it means they might still be looking for a job. And what perpetrators do is they actually attack you at your weakest. So they know Mokaya is looking for a job. So they'll come and tell you, by the way, we have a job opportunity in country X. So maybe because they know in Saudi, when I tell you Saudi Arabia, you will not accept because you know what happens there. So I'll come and tell you, for example, what they use Thailand. No one has ever heard of someone being exploited in Thailand. So they'll be like, that's actually a good country. Only for you to go, and then you realize you're still in the same situation.
You're actually not in, okay.
So re-trafficking is actually possible for individuals. And that is why we keep saying that just because someone has suffered human trafficking does not mean they actually understand. When survivors come to us, they don't understand that they have been exploited. For them, they just think, yeah, I just got a bad employer, or I just got into a wrong deal. So then we're the ones who tell them, no, this was actually human trafficking that happened to you.
It was intentional.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was intentional. Someone actually benefited from you suffering. They had a plan. You're the one who didn't know what the plan was. And you know, sometimes even people who abuse people, or people who get people into human trafficking situation, are family members, are friends, people who are close to you.
Yeah.
You rarely hear, like, it's very, the cases happen of people you don't, or strangers, but most of the times people are recruited by people who are close to them.
Yeah.
Because human trafficking or perpetrators normally take advantage of trust. So you're trusting me that I am going to give you a job. So that's what they take advantage of. So they need people who are close to you. So it could be your brother who tells you, but there is a job opportunity. Maybe they don't know, but they're just telling you. So that's why we keep insisting on due diligence. Do your due diligence as an individual. Call us in our helpline, on our helpline number, which is 0780-211-113, so that we help you be able to tell, is this job opportunity actually real? Does it exist?
Yes.
Or you even walk to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, State Department of Diaspora Affairs, go to them. They have the mandate to actually tell if this job is legitimate, whichever country you're going to, is this job legitimate? Go to the Ministry of Labor. We have the National Employment Authority. So if I'm telling you this is my recruitment agency, go to their website and check, are these people registered? But also, as a disclaimer, I'd like to tell people that just because an agency is registered does not mean they are ethical.
Okay.
Because we still have those that are registered, but they take people and people end up in exploitative situations. Yes.
Wow. Now, you've touched on something I really wanted us to talk about, which is, I think you'd mentioned some of the pillars that you work with as an organization. The first is prevention.
Yes.
Because I think the best situation would be to get someone before they have actually been trafficked,
Yes.
to avoid that in the first place. You know, people are listening, adults, maybe parents. So when it comes to the whole question of prevention of human trafficking, how should we go about that? Because I have 3 children, and I'm already thinking, how do I safeguard my children that they are not taken advantage of in this way?
Yeah. And I love that you're bringing in the aspect of children. And one of the things I think I've not mentioned in terms of exploitation is sometimes exploitation cannot happen online. So we need to also be aware of that, that exploitation cannot happen online. So that means even our children are not safe. And also we have human trafficking happening within the borders of our country. So for human trafficking to happen, it does not require you to have a cross-border movement, no. It can happen within the confines of your country. And it can also happen with, you don't require movement for human trafficking to happen. I can exploit you in your own house, like I can exploit my children in my own house. But we'll get into that later. So your question was around what can we do as parents? So number one is, first of all, educate yourself on what human trafficking is and how it manifests. Then talk to your children about human trafficking. Tell them, if this and this happens, you come and report to me. Because even for us as an organization, we have programs for children. So we work with children in schools, and we teach them on human rights, and then touch on human trafficking, as well as how do you report? Who's a safe adult for you to go and report when you notice a case? So it could be you are the one who's experiencing it, or your friend is the one who's experiencing it. So if your friend tells you this and this is happening to me, come and report. So as a parent, you need to equip yourself with the knowledge on what human trafficking is. Talk to your child or your children. Talk to the people around you, talk to your siblings, talk to your house help, so that they also understand. So you make it your duty.
Okay. And for adults, because I think the saddest one for me is especially the means. How are we to prevent from being exploited? How are we able, identifying these means and being able to catch them before we are fully taken advantage of?
All right. So we talk about the red flags. What is it that I should be looking out for? Then I'm like, oh, this job is, I don't think it's legitimate. So the first thing is, so when someone tells you there's a job opportunity, let them give you as much information as possible. Which country are you going to?
Yeah.
What is the name of the person? Because a lot of people, and it's one of the reasons as to why even prosecution is very low. So I met Mokaya. He recruited me, but I don't know whom he works for. So I just know he's an agent, or I call him a broker. But his company, or I know nothing about him. I even know him by just one name. Right? So it's important you understand the person who's recruiting you, which agency are they working for? Then go and search on the National Employment website. Do they have a legitimate license? The second thing is go to the Ministry of State Department for Diaspora Affairs. Tell them, I've been told there's a job in country X. So I would like you to verify if this job actually exists. Number two, let them give you a contract before you go. Like, get the papers, because people are not given contract. So get this contract. Understand whom am I going to be working for, what job am I going to be doing, because majority of the people will tell you, my contract was written in a language I could not understand. So mine I was just signing. Or yes, I was given a contract, but I was given one at the airport. Is this person insisting on holding your identification documents? Why are they holding your identification documents? Because that happens a lot. Is this person forcing you to rush? You know, fanya sahi, you need to finish. You know, these spaces are limited. So if you don't do it in 2 days, you won't get this job. Why? Don't tell anyone. But again, you see also as a, I think it's a cultural thing where we say, don't tell people your things, you keep quiet. They will ruin it. So Mercy has been offered a job. I don't tell my family because, you know, they don't wish me well. So if I
you
tell
have
them,
that auntie anaweza kuroga.
Yes, exactly. So I don't tell people, and they take advantage of that. Because if you tell people, maybe someone will tell you, no, I have heard of this situation, and normally it does not end up well. So secrecy is something we also have to work and get over with when it comes to human trafficking. Then on the day of departure, ensure that your family members know where you're going. They have a copy of your contract. They have which country you're going to, which employer you're going to work with. You have the phone numbers, all these things. When you get to your country of destination also, we love advising people if there's an embassy in that country, you need to go and report to the Kenyan embassy and tell them, I'm a Kenyan, I'm coming here for work, I'll be working in place 1, 2, 3. Because then when something happens to you, it becomes easier for people to track where you are.
Okay. All right. I think that is very helpful, and especially I have, you know, even people in mind as you're sharing all that, and I can see indeed how rampant human trafficking actually is, even when we don't identify it. But I want us to take a pause, you know, take a short break, and then when we come back, we continue with this conversation. We are talking about Stop Human Trafficking as we look forward to celebrating World Day Against Human Trafficking on Wednesday. I hope there are things you're learning when it comes to the whole question of human trafficking. Do share with us your comments, your feedback, or even your questions. 20316 is our SMS line. 0786 316 316 is our WhatsApp line. And even as we do that, of course, you know, we are able to bring you programs like this because of partners with men and women like yourself. And so feel free to donate to the work that we do here. You can use M-Pesa paybill number 316 316, and for the account, just write your phone number. Let's listen to this, and then when we come back, we continue with our conversation.
My name is Ann Jambi Mwangi, and well, I'm a mother of one, an auntie of hundreds. I got born again in Greece, in Athens, and but I was born in the system, the Christian system. And I thank God for the promises of God to parents, because I know probably when I was born in that system, someone had made a covenant, and I'm a benefit of that covenant, and that's my mom. When I came back, I was already involved with TBN Europe. So when I came back here, I started looking for TBN, and I came across Family TV. And I realized there is a connection. So I was happy about it, and I continued with whatever was going on there. I was happy to continue with Family TV here.
As an avid viewer of Family TV, Anne has also made the commitment to give to help us keep Jesus on the airwaves.
I find that I'm raising someone I can say is actually a friend also. And I try my best to influence him to the ways of the Lord as much as I can. And then I tell God to take the rest, because I can't make it on my own. It is not easy, but mostly is talking to God about him, about everything. What should I do? What should I say? How shall I handle this? And by the way, we have a Bible study every Saturday. We sit down. It's very few people, but we have it.
We invite you to become a partner with us by making a donation to M-Pesa Paybill 316 with your phone number as the account number. Together, let's keep Jesus on the airwaves.
What you give, actually, it didn't belong to you in the first place. So you will not miss it. So it is good, actually, to take part in this commission of going to the ends of the world and preaching the gospel so that people will change, people will be healed, people will have hope like we do of seeing the Lord. Because without it, then many people will be lost.
Welcome back. This is Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. And today's conversation is a challenging one because we're talking about human trafficking. Stop human trafficking. That's the topic that we are talking about today, especially as we look forward to celebrating on Wednesday, World Day Against Human Trafficking. And helping us with this conversation is Otieno, who's the programs manager at HAART, HAART, which is Awareness Against Human Trafficking. And I want us to just get right into it so that we may learn. Imagine it is possible that you're listening to this and you're actually in a human trafficking situation. It's possible you're listening to this and your loved one is in a human trafficking situation. And I want us to learn so that we are able to actually get ourselves out of these situations or prevent ourselves from getting into these spaces where we are exploited either for sex or for labor. And so let's get right into this conversation. Welcome, Mercy. As we were listening to that during the break, we're just talking about how it's possible for someone to be exploited and yet, sort of label it differently. Just speak into that because, and how difficult it has been also for you as an organization, even to try and assist people, coming out of that kind of situation.
Yeah. So one of the things we experience is, one, when people are in this exploitative situation, they're not able to identify that it's actually, they are being exploited, but because they have a dream, they are very hopeful that I'm here to get money, I came here to work. So even when this thing is happening, they're like, it's fine, I can persevere. I can just be strong, then I will get the money at the end of the day. But then what happens is that money never comes. And you have situations of people who are able to run away from the situation. But because, so one of the things I want to mention about the Gulf states, most of the times when people are leaving this country.
And Gulf states, just for the sake of the people that are tuned in, we're talking about countries like
Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Bahrain, Kuwait, UAE, the Dubais and all the others. So that is what we are talking about. But this can also happen to people in other countries. Like could be Turkey, because we had cases from Turkey as well. We have cases from India. So what happens is when this person is recruiting you, another red flag is, what permit are you going to work with? When I'm going to work outside, I need to go with a work permit or a work visa. But most of the people who leave this country, they go with a tourist visa.
Oh.
Tourist visa is 3 months. So after 3 months, it will expire.
Yeah.
So please make the connection between how comes I'm having a 2-year contract, but I'm being given a 3 months visa. So it means at some point it will expire. And when it expires, you are at the mercy of the employer. Because now they tell you, you're actually here illegally. You're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
So then they use that to intimidate you. So you have to remain in that situation. So as a red flag or as a safe migration information, what type of contract, what type of visa are you living with? If it's a tourist visa, please think twice. Don't go. Because if I'm going to work, I need to go with a work visa.
Yeah.
But if I'm going for tourist purposes, then I go with a tourist visa.
Yeah.
So now what happens is, so you get into this situation. So what took you there is money. So you're thinking, no, let me just work hard, and then I'll get this money regardless of the situation I'm experiencing. This person does not end up paying you. So you try and run away from the situation. When you run away from the situation, we have, in the Gulf states, we have people who are called Kimbois.
Okay.
Kimbois, they call them Kimbois because they ran away. So then they will take you. And then you have, they call them dalalas. So dalalas are like agents. Most of them are Africans, by the way. So they tell you, I can offer you opportunities, find you jobs, but there's a way you need to pay them. So now you end up being in this country, moving from one job to another. And the more you are illegal, the more people exploit you. So it happens then, because you're in this country and your visa has expired, the country fines you, and it's a lot of money. So you're not able to come back because you need to pay this fine so that you come back into the country. So when you think about all these things, you end up being
trapped.
Yes, you're trapped. And someone will take advantage of you because now remember you're vulnerable. So you have someone else who is seeing this is an opportunity. So I'll offer you a house, a shelter, food, but in return you have to do 1, 2, 3. So sometimes they're even sexually exploited.
Oh no.
Because you need to survive. So if you're a person and you're in that situation, go to the Kenyan embassy, and I know there's a lot of complaints, especially in the Gulf states, when it comes to our embassies, that they don't help people. So please go there, say you're a Kenyan, what has happened to you, and tell them you need to come back home. Alternatively, write to us either on WhatsApp, like reach to Heart Kenya, on that helpline number, because then we'll be able to go to the government, the different authorities on your behalf, so that we advocate for you to be brought back home. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So that's on the prevention side that we talked about. The second thing you mentioned is protection.
Yes.
How do you help then to protect individuals that are caught up in this exploitative act?
So one of the things you'll notice is all these P's are very interlinked. So as a form of protection is now when we come and tell people what we do, then tell them if you identify a survivor of human trafficking, you refer them to us so that we are able to offer them the needed support. Because they suffer a lot of traumatic experiences, and if they're not able to get into the journey of healing, they either end up in not necessarily human trafficking, but people still will take advantage of them because remember now psychologically this person is not okay. Or they'll also experience situations of their relationships with people breaking down because this person is not okay. So one of the things could be maybe they would suffer from depression, they would suffer from, inflicting self-harm because of the things that they've experienced. So it's very important that when you identify a survivor of human trafficking, refer them for the relevant help that they need. Then we get to work with them based on their needs. So where we have therapy, they'll receive therapy, medical care, and also for cases where we have evidence, then we move now to prosecution. So prosecution looks into how do we ensure that survivors access justice? Because this is a crime they have suffered. And with that, then we work with the DCI, a specific unit called Trans-Organized Crime Unit. And if it's a case for children, we work with the Anti-Human Trafficking Child Protection Unit. So they do the investigations, collect all the evidences, work with prosecution, and then now they move to court. So in court, what happens is there's this whole thing of testifying, hearings, and finally, if we have enough and sufficient evidence, we have successful convictions. I think just, was it last year? We had a successful conviction of 2 cases.
Oh, wow.
One was for sexual exploitation. A lady had recruited girls from Uganda, brought them to Kenya, and she was actually exploiting them in brothels. So we were able to have successful conviction. The woman was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
Wow.
And we also had a case of a Kenyan who recruited people, took them to Laos, the Southeast Asia, the Laos Republic, and also she was convicted to, I think, 10 years in prison. We also had a case of a man who was exploiting a child living with disability for forced begging, and he was also convicted for human trafficking, 20 years, sentenced for 20 years. So in terms of prosecution, it's an area where, in as much as we have, like as an organization, we have supported over 1,200 survivors of human trafficking. But when it comes to these cases going to court, it's very few that end up in court. And one of the reasons is because we do not have sufficient evidence. And how does that look like? So someone comes and says, it's Mokaya who recruited me, but then we can't connect. They don't have contracts. Again, so it's just a whole list of things that we cannot connect. And if I am accusing you, I need to be able to prove it. So always, if you're paying someone, if right now you're paying someone for them to take you somewhere, please have that money transfer recorded. Please have the phone conversations stored properly. Because now when we come back, we'll ask you for this information, and we'll need to connect you and this person together for us to be able to see how did they contribute to your exploitation. So that's like, evidence is very important when it comes to access to justice. Because if you do not have evidence, it's your word against mine.
And that becomes difficult.
And
then I think there are 4 P's.
Then
the last P is?
The last P is partnership. So how do we all work together? Everyone has a role to play. As an individual, as a community, we have a role to play. So how do we work together to ensure that we are actually fighting human trafficking? And the partnerships could be in different, it could be in prevention, could be in protection, could be in prosecution. We all need each other in all these other P's. So for example, in prosecution, the police cannot collect evidence if they do not work with the survivors who are their witnesses. Survivors will not collaborate if the police are not treating them as humans. So you have to also treat them with dignity for them to cooperate. In terms of providing support, if as a community we are not able to identify exploitation happening, it means we'll not report cases, and these people will continue suffering. As a government, what is the government doing to ensure trafficking is not happening within the confines of its borders? Are we implementing, because we do have policies and acts in place to ensure that trafficking is not happening, but implementation is very limited. A lot of people do not know that we have a Counter Trafficking in Persons Act. Even those who are supposed to be enforcing it are not aware of it. So how then does the government come in and ensure that this thing, like there's an awareness of what human trafficking is and the different reporting mechanisms that exist? As the media, how do you come in and highlight human trafficking throughout the year? How do we also try and show how human trafficking is multifaceted? Because a lot of the times, as Kenyans, we only associate trafficking with the Gulf. But trafficking is happening within the borders of our countries. When we see cases of organ harvesting, are we able to identify when now it's a case of human trafficking, for example? Forced begging, we see children in the streets. Do we even bother to see this child is who is this child working for? Where is the money going? Because this child is always here January to January. So then there's that role of the media in being able to show all the different forms of trafficking, also telling the communities, where do you look out for help? Again, as schools, are we teaching children about human trafficking in our curriculum? Because they need to know. It's not a thing that you need to now come and realize. Like for me, it's until I started working with her that I actually realized I used to see trafficking happening. So for example, one of the common forms of child trafficking is when we take children and we make them work in our homesteads. You know,
Oh, yes.
domestic.
An underage.
Yes, an underage child who's working for you. And then this money is given back to the parent, or you don't even pay them. When we take orphans from the village, you tell the parent, acha nikakusomeshe huyu Nairobi. Then you don't even take them to school. You bring them, they become your house help. You are exploiting. You see, that's a very
You are a
basic
human
form.
trafficker.
Yeah, exactly. But do we report such cases? No, you're like, ni kawaida, but you're actually exploiting this young child. So those things that we get to see as a community, we get to report. So everyone has a role, and now that's what we talk about when it comes to partnership. It's not those things, big things for the boardroom. It's what is it that I can do at an individual capacity to fight human trafficking. So we start from the micro level all the way to macro level. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, you've given such a good example that many people, perhaps even listening, are guilty of, and they may not even know.
Yes.
That it's, you know, that taking advantage of a minor.
Yes.
And in your mind, you seem persuaded you're actually helping them. Because
Yes.
after all, if they're in the village, they wouldn't have food.
Yes.
At least in my house, I'm giving them food.
Yes.
But you're saying that's a case of trafficking.
Yes. Because you're making them work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're exploiting them. And you've actually, no, look at it this way. For this family, maybe it's the mother who's given you consent. But what have you done? You are taking advantage of their position of vulnerability. So you've taken this child. I'm going to take them to school, but they don't go to school.
Yeah.
You bring them in your house, they're always working. They don't even have time to play. They don't have time to interact with other children.
Yeah.
So you're even interfering with their development. So you are exploiting this child. And if you're reported, then you go to prison. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Maybe speaking to three areas as we now get towards a close. There's the area of organ trafficking that we talked about, which is happening within our country.
Yes.
And sort of the lie that people are sold. There's the area of begging that we've talked about, you know, child begging. But then there's the area of forceful abductions. I don't know, especially the third area of forceful abductions, especially when it comes to children. I don't know how rampant that is, or are there cases that you've had like that? Just speaking to those three areas then as we begin to bring this to a close.
Okay, so for organ harvesting or organ removal, we see it when people take advantage of, most of the time they take advantage of people's vulnerability. You know, come and sell your kidney, you get this 50,000. And I think from the cases we've seen on the media, they're not even given that money that they agreed upon. So someone has taken your organ, they don't even care how you will heal. They didn't take you through the process of understanding what does this mean for you if you give your kidney. Because remember, consent, this is what we call informed consent. Just because I've said yes and you didn't give me the clear picture, then you've manipulated my consent. So there's that is happening. But also it's important for us to mention, organ harvesting is not just happening in Kenya with the Medihill situation. We even have cases of it happening outside the borders of the country. So someone tells you they are going to give you a job. Then you get to do all these things, you go to the country. When you get there, and especially for the domestic workers, all of a sudden you're ill, you end up in a hospital. Then in this hospital, whatever organ they needed, they take from you. Then you come back into the country. You don't know, you just know you went to the hospital and you're coming back with a scar. Then maybe later is when you go to the hospital, and this happened to us as an organization. When this person went to the hospital, because for us, one of the things we do at the point of contact with this person is a medical checkup. We want to see that everything is okay with you. Then they realize they do not have one kidney. They ask them, when did you lose the kidney? They're like, no, I have my 2 kidneys. I've never given my kidney. Then they start narrating what happened the other side. They fell ill, went to the hospital, and I just came back. So my kidney is missing. There's another person who shared of a relative who left the country to go to the Gulf to work. And when they got there, I think after 2 weeks, they were told that they need to go and receive dead body. Like, this person left here alive. They were talking when they got there. 2 weeks, there was some silence. Then all of a sudden, your relative is dead.
Oh no.
So they go for their relative. But when they receive this relative, their body is a shell because all their internal organs are missing.
Oh no.
Yes. So they were actually recruited for purposes of organ removal. So that has happened. So it's sad. And you can see in this country, a lot of times we receive dead bodies, and it's important for families to push for a post-mortem.
Yeah.
Find out what is missing, because they come with very different, they had chest problems, that is why they are dead. But who can prove that? So demand for a post-mortem so that you ensure that this person is actually intact. Because they die in very unclear circumstances. So it could be organ removal. Then when we talk about forced begging, a lot of the forced begging that is happening in this country is people are getting children from Tanzania, children living with disability. They bring them here, make them beg 24/7. That money goes back to the person who's brought them. That child doesn't benefit anything. The family has been lied to that the child is going to school, but they're actually exploiting this child. Again, we also have girls being taken from Uganda, being brought here for sexual exploitation. And the last one would be now the forced criminality, which is an emerging form of human trafficking that Kenyans are facing. And it's interesting because why a lot of Kenyans are suffering from forced criminality is because we have very high rates of educated people. They do not have jobs, so they're taking advantage of these skills because even for this over 150 survivors that we had, majority of them were college graduates. They had degrees, so they took advantage of that skill. Yes.
Wow. Mercy, I think this is one of those conversations that leaves one extremely sad, unfortunately, just to realize that as a society, that is the space we are in. But thank you for organizations like yours that help at least in bringing awareness. Maybe in a few seconds you could share with us, if somebody wanted to reach out, somebody might be in a situation or they may need help, how can they reach out to you guys?
So you can reach us either direct message or calling us or WhatsApp. We are on all social media platforms. You use 0780-211-113.
Okay.
0780-211-113, or you can write to our email info@haartkenya.org.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. All right. Thank you very much, Mercy. This has been a privilege and an honor to be able to have this conversation to you, and it is our prayer and hope that somebody listening, even at this time, would actually be assisted. And so thank you very much. Well, we have come to the end of our conversation for this morning, and I do pray and hope that it has been insightful for you. I hope some of these things that we have learned, you can help yourself, but also help somebody else. We begin with prevention, but if you have somebody that is already caught up in an exploitative situation, you can still find them help. And so feel free to reach out to Heart Kenya. If you didn't get the context, reach out to us on 20316, which is our SMS line, or 0786-316-316, which is our WhatsApp line, and we'll be able to link you up. And on Wednesday, as we celebrate World Day Against Human Trafficking, please do join so that we would bring an end to human trafficking. That is all we had for you for today. And let me encourage you to continue being vigilant. Let me encourage you to continue watching out. You may be in a vulnerable situation, but do not make your situation worse. Before I go, do you know that you can continue to support the work that we do here, like I had mentioned earlier, by joining us as one of our partners? Please feel free to send an SMS with the word partner to 20316, and somebody will get back to you. You can donate through our paybill number 316 using your phone number as the account number. You can feel free to donate through our cooperative bank account number. Our account name is TBN Family Media. You can feel free to do that, and if you send us an SMS on 20316, we are able to give you even further details. May the Lord keep you, and please do not be a perpetrator of human trafficking. And I beg you, by the mercy of God, don't get yourself into an exploitative situation. The Lord bless you.